evening, everyone. Welcome to Shanghai University of Traditional Chinese Medicine. It is my pleasure tonight to share with all of you about Chinese instruments and classic Chinese music. And I'm happy to see my friends again, whom I met in Lyon last year, Maggie, Amandine, where's Amandine? Yeah, and Catherine. Okay. So Chinese orchestra is formed by following the setup of Western orchestra, Philharmonic orchestra in the 1920s, and generally Chinese orchestra are found in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, and Malaysia. In the ancient China, Chinese music instruments are generally played by solo or duet. Until the 1920s, orchestra starts to form with a setup of around 60 to 100 players. My name is James, he is Matthew, and Hui Ying. We are all from Malaysia. And the three of us have been playing Chinese musical instruments for more than 10 years. Before we get into our pieces, I would like to share with all of you some facts about Chinese orchestra and Chinese musical instruments. So Chinese orchestra is typically divided into 4 sections according to the way they are played. In the Western orchestra, we have brass, we have woodwinds, we have strings and percussions. And in Chinese orchestra, we also have 4 sections. We do not have brass. Instead of woodwinds, we have winds, like the flute. And we have both strings and percussion. There is one unique section, which is the plucked strings. And here today, we have this instrument, and Wu Zheng and Zhongran just now also happen to be in the plucked string section. Allow me to introduce you the instruments we are going to play tonight, starting from the plucked string instrument. This is called Yangqin, which is similar to hammered dulcimer. Yangqin is played by hammering the strings with 2 bamboo sticks, like this, the bamboo sticks. And there are 65 tones on it, and more than 140 strings on it. This is the bamboo sticks. Okay, so because it has more than 140 strings on it, so it always has been a nightmare for a Yangqin player to tune their instruments after carrying to somewhere else. And this is what a Yangqin sounds like. The next instrument is the Chinese flute. Unlike the Western flute, a Chinese flute doesn't have the keyhole mechanism, so in order to play a semitone, some of the keyholes have to be played by pressing only half of a hole, which increases the difficulty in terms of pitch. And therefore, Chinese flute players bring a lot of flutes along for modulation, because different flutes can only play certain keys. There is a key essential to the sound of a Chinese flute, which gives a Chinese flute a Chinese sound. It is a very thin film, stick on the second hole from the left. It is made with a thin piece of aloe vera, and it is very easy to break. This is what a Chinese flute sounds like. Lastly, this is an...
You know what is this? What is this rhythm? Very famous. Jasmine. Jasmine flower.
Yeah, jasmine flower. Lastly, this is an Erhu, as known as Chinese violin. A violin has 4 strings, and Erhu only has 2 strings. In Mandarin is meaning is 2. So Erhu, the Hu is the name of the instrument, 2 strings. And a violin's bow is detached. The bow of an Erhu is attached between the strings, so I cannot get the bow out. And the bow is made with bamboo and horsetail, just like the violin bow. And this is made with snake skin. One of the well-known Chinese orchestra, the Hong Kong Chinese Orchestra, has found another material to replace the snake skin, which made the process of an Erhu more environmental friendly, but still not commonly used. And today we also have a higher pitch Gao Hu. Gao in Mandarin means high. So Hu is the name of the instruments. It's like violin and viola. And you can listen to the sounds later in the piece. Okay, let me share with you a famous legend love story in the ancient China. Long ago in China, at a time when girls were expected to stay at home and learn household work while the boys went to school, a girl named Zhu conceived a desire to study. Her family was wealthy and Zhu was pampered. She disguised herself as a boy and managed to get admission into a school in the city of Hangzhou. There was a boy named Liang in her class. The two were drawn to each other, and in course of time, they became good friends. As the months and the years passed, they became inseparable companions. And Zhu realized that she was in love. She told Liang that when they finished school and he had a good job, he should come over to her house and ask her father for her sister's hand. But actually, the sister is herself. When Liang had saved enough to get married, he hastened to Zhu's house. It was a year since they had parted, and Zhu had missed him terribly. Unable to restrain herself, she rushed out shouting, "I'm your friend, as you can see. I'm a girl. I cannot live without you." Liang was dazed by the revelation. Suddenly, everything had fallen into place. Now he knew why he had felt such a strong love for Zhu. Zhu took him to her father, who listened attentively to what Liang had to say. But when the young man asked for Zhu's hand, her father shook his head. He told Liang that Zhu had already been promised to another man, a wealthy merchant. Nothing that Liang said could make Zhu's father change his mind. Liang left, shattered. He felt frighteningly alone. The thought that he would never see Zhu again filled him with pain. On the way, he collapsed and died. When Zhu learned of Liang's death, she lost all desire to continue living. She pretended to agree to the marriage arranged for her on one condition, that the wedding procession passed by Liang's grave. As the wedding procession neared the cemetery, the wind began to howl, the sky grew dark. Zhu jumped down from her palanquin and, rushing to Liang's grave, threw herself on it, sobbing uncontrollably. A peal of thunder suddenly rent the air. The next moment, a bolt of lightning hit the grave, breaking it open, and Zhu leaped into it. The storm subsided as quickly as it had started. When Zhu's relatives reached the grave and peered into it, all they saw first was an empty coffin. Then out flew two butterflies, dancing as if they could not believe they were together. And as the people standing around the grave watched in fascination and bewilderment, the two lovely butterfly lovers flew out of sight. This story is called The Butterfly Lovers, or we call梁祝in Mandarin, which is the surname of the lovers. Two famous music composers, He Zhanhao and Chen Gang, wrote this romantic story into a half-an-hour-long violin concerto to spread this lovely legend to every corner in the world. Tonight, the three of us will try to interpret part of the whole piece under 5 minutes. Please enjoy The Butterfly Lovers. performed, most of the Chinese pieces were narrative music. We can feel and hear the story just by listening to the piece. We have a piece about fishermen fishing on the sea, conquering the stormy waves. We have a piece describing about the majestic terracotta warriors. We have a piece narrating the flying and dancing of fairies of Dunhuang Mill Road. We have a piece about the festive scene of the Yao tribe of China, singing and dancing around the bonfire. Today, before we end our sharing session, we are going to play a piece wrote by a Shanghai composer,朱晓谷, describing the prosperity of Shanghai Pier in the year 1977. Please enjoy the Bustling Docks.